Start off with a huge shout out to Tracy Fuchs and women's field hockey. Onto the Final Four. Excited that their semifinal contest will be in Ann Arbor. Excited for her and her team, and excited for our opportunity ahead in Ann Arbor as well. It's been exciting to watch Tracy and her team throughout this season, and hopeful that this weekend will be a great weekend for the Cats all around. So with that, had an opportunity to get back to work this morning with our team, review the Ohio State film. I think a lot of learning opportunities from the game, both positive and constructively in terms of how we need to move forward. Incredible opportunity in front of us in Ann Arbor against a very good Michigan team, very talented. A team that is certainly line of scrimmage based. Going to look to establish a run game, stay committed to a run game. Very talented up front. Defensive coordinator with a ton of NFL experience. Very multiple. Very well thought out. Very much pressure oriented. Saw a lot of looks, from Ohio State, pressured much more than they had shown in the past leading into our game. Would anticipate, a heavy dose of pressure from Michigan's defense this week. But it's an exciting challenge for this football team, a football team that, we feel, is improving in some areas. Certainly have a lot of work to do. We have 2 more guaranteed opportunities, and, excited to go on the road and put ourselves in a position to win a football game and work towards bowl eligibility.
Coach, you just mentioned how much Wink likes to bring pressure. How much of your conversations this week with Zach and with Jack is just, hey, let's simplify this offense and maybe get to a one-read system where he can just throw hot right away against pressure?
Yeah, no, I think as you looked at the way Jack performed versus pressure, even this past weekend, I think Jack did a really good job. I mean, that completion to Bryce Kurtz on our sideline, pressure's coming, gets picked up. He knows he's got an unblocked defender to his left. He's got to get the ball up early. Bryce goes and makes a big catch. I think Jack is feeling more comfortable week to week with some of that pressure, and we have to understand our opponent. I'm sure that they're going to find ways to work to manipulate protection and find some ways to pressure. Where Jack was at his best on Saturday was with decisive decision making and trusting what he was seeing and trusting his wide receivers. That'll have to continue this week.
Coach, a couple of big 4th down conversions for Ohio State, which is something that your defense is normally pretty good at preventing. Michigan, also a really good 4th down team. What do you need to do to make sure that if that opportunity comes up, your defense is able to get off the field? Yeah,
no, that's a great point. I could be slightly off on this, but I think 3rd down wise against Ohio State, we were 4-10, which is, would like to be better there, but you feel like you're in a solid place with that percentage. But with the 2 4th down conversions, all of a sudden, they're 6-10, and that plays a critical role in the game. Michigan has proven, to be very effective on 4th down. I think that's a credit to their run game and staying ahead of the chains. They pick up a big 4th down against Minnesota, in minus territory. It starts with getting in advantageous 3rd down situations, 3rd and long situations where you feel like that you're forcing them to be one-dimensional, and then being prepared on 4th down to convert defensively. And one thing we talk about, as much as we talk about takeaways and how critical that is, a 4th down stop is as good as a takeaway and something that we got to celebrate. But we're going to need to be better in that area this week.
You talked about the importance of the line of scrimmage against Michigan. Made a change on your own offensive line last week with starting Zomo at left guard. Was that something, an evaluation out of a bye week, or was that something you've kind of known you wanted to do and now you can do it while still preserving his red shirt?
Yeah, it was something that he had been getting some opportunities to rotate in and has consistently improved in practice, over the course of not even the last couple of weeks, throughout the course of the entire season, as we've become very thin on the O-line. Honestly speaking, Cooper was a little dinged up coming off for Purdue, providing an opportunity for Mo to get even more reps. And as the game flow was going, the initial plan was to rotate at that position. But some of the things that we were seeing out of Mo in game, led us to believe that it was, in our best interest to let him keep rolling. Proud of the way that he's continued to develop, and his ability as a young guy just to, going against the number 2 team in the country, one of the best defenses in the country, and really can compete at a high level.
So will he be starting next week against Michigan?
The plan is for Mo to start against Michigan, yes.
Charlie? Coach, Michigan's passing volume is one of the lowest in the Big Ten. How will that affect your game plan defensively this Saturday?
Yeah, if Tim McGargle was sitting up here with me, he would tell you, priority number 1 for us defensively in the Big Ten is to stop the run, and that will certainly get tested this week against Michigan. You always have to evaluate, what you're potentially giving up or exposing yourself to in that commitment to stopping the run game. Michigan, very, very talented tight end that can create some matchup issues. Again, you go back and look at, some of the Minnesota game and, some of the plays that Michigan was able to hit in the passing game. It's against some loaded boxes. So you just have to continue to make sure that you have balance in your structure of your plan. But what I can say with absolute conviction, if we don't effectively stop the run against Michigan, it's not going to be the outcome we're looking for.
Coach, with Bryce Kurtz being able to make his return this past weekend, how pivotal will it be for your group to have a veteran and a captain back in the lineup as you guys hunt for a bowl bid in these last 2 games?
It's huge. I know Bryce has been chomping at the bit to get back for a long time now, and I know he was thrilled to be back. Our team was thrilled to have him back, and for him to produce the way that he did. Even in short preparation. Really even midweek, we were still working through. A level of uncertainty if we'd have him back or not. So huge credit to him, but thrilled to have him back, for these last 2 guaranteed opportunities. It makes our offense better. It makes others around him better. It forces defenses to account for him and others in that wide receiving core. And, Bryce is playing some of his best football this season. And you can certainly tell that there's a level of confidence that Jack Lausch has with Bryce in terms of just, the A.J. Hennings catch on the opposite sideline as well. Of there's a level of confidence and timing that's starting to show up with those guys with more banked reps in game.
So this Saturday is going to be a homecoming for A.J. Henning, who played in Michigan for 3 years. Now he's at Northwestern. So if you could just kind of speak to what he's brought to Northwestern, especially, this is going to be his last year as a Wildcat, just what he's brought to this program as a player and more importantly, maybe as a person.
Yeah. As a player, the production speaks for itself. I think the thing that really stands out to me about AJ is the way that it's not easy to transition as a transfer, especially at a place like Northwestern. That's incredible and awesome, but also unique in terms of just some of the rigor that exists with the academics here. I think AJ did a great job of, building credibility first and doing that through his work ethic and who he is as a teammate. That credibility has just continued to blossom and grow in his time here. And you really find out about a person when adversity hits. And, I think some of the things that we experienced in our passing game early on during the year with transition at the quarterback position, some inexperienced quarterback play, not that Jack wasn't growing, but some early starts for him in his career, and AJ's commitment to this team and his work ethic, his consistency and availability in practice and for games is something that just really stands out. Gets dinged up against Wisconsin. He's back at practice on Tuesday. I think AJ's only missed 1 practice this entire year, fall camp throughout the entire season. Like the workload that's on that guy, that's incredibly impressive. But it just speaks to his competitiveness, his commitment to this team, and to see him continue to have opportunities to impact games on Saturdays for us is something that we're all really excited about, and something that's a driving force for me personally and our program as a whole is, I know a record isn't where we want it to be right now, but we want to extend the opportunity for this group to continue on this season. We got 12 days left in the regular season with this group. 2 guaranteed opportunities with a really special group of young men. Like, let's go battle our butts off and extend that opportunity. And for guys like AJ Henning as a senior, and Coco and Bryce and Xander, I mean, the list just goes on and on. What greater motivation than finding a way to get this group to a bowl game?
Coach, this weekend will be the second ever time that the George Jewett Trophy is on the line, and Michigan has it from 2021. What will it mean for this team it's only the second trophy game you guys get outside of the hat. What will it mean to bring home this trophy back to Evanston?
It's a huge deal. First and foremost, a shout out to Liam Kennedy, who actually kind of spurred, this concept and trophy on. I think it represents so much of what makes college football so special, in terms of, you can bring together a group of young men from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different races, ethnicities, and all working towards a common goal. And for us to have an opportunity to go into Michigan, to go into Ann Arbor, to win a game for this football team, but also to bring that trophy to Evanston for the first time would be something that would be an incredible feat to celebrate.
You mentioned with the senior and graduating class, is there an opportunity for Xander to make it back this season, or is that still up in the air?
Yeah, it's up in the air. I know I said last week how optimistic I was that he would be back. I have a lot of optimism that we'll have Xander back. Certainly very hopeful for this week, but we'll know a lot more midweek. And what I can tell you very clearly is, like, Xander Mueller, we have a lot of tough guys on this football team. Xander Mueller is one of the toughest individuals I've ever been around. The dedication he's put in to continue leading this team and getting himself back out on the field is something that exemplifies what we're all about. And what I know is if Xander Mueller is able to get cleared, he's going to be back out on that field with his teammates.
Coach, Michigan tends to struggle in the punt return game, and that's something you guys have had a lot of success in, whether it's Joe Hyman, AJ Henning. We talk a lot about complementary football here. What do you think your team needs to do on special teams, especially on a road game, in order to kind of flip that and give yourselves opportunities to get short fields?
Yeah, it will be critical. I mean, as we've seen when this team's found success and found wins, it's been all 3 phases that have contributed to that. Special teams is huge. Even going back to Ohio State, we did win the field position battle, which is somewhat surprising considering our one punt that resulted in Ohio State getting the ball at the 1 yard line. But our kickoff team did a really good job. We had a very detailed plan on our kickoff return in terms of how we wanted to approach that against Ohio State. It'll take another really detailed plan of finding our selective areas where we really want to be aggressive. But this will be a game that field position certainly factors in for sure.
Coach, how do you prepare your team to play in the biggest stadium in the country when your team is so used to playing in much smaller venues?
Yeah, I think it's an exciting opportunity for our team. That's what's really neat about the Big Ten is these incredible venues that you have an opportunity to play in. So excited for what's ahead in 2026 for the Cats in terms of the new Ryan Field. I mean, add the new Ryan Field to the list of, the new Ryan Field's going to be, the best stadium in all of college football. Excited for us, opponents to be talking about our venue, but the Big House, is going to have an impact on our ability to operate offensively and on special teams. The way that we prepare, no different than the way that we prepare for all our road games, but we got to understand that crowd noise will play a factor, and that'll certainly be a part of our plan all week long in terms of pumping that crowd noise into our practices. And then our guys just got to do a great job of really eliminating interference, whether it's the tunnel situation at Michigan, whether it be the crowd noise, whatever that looks like. I'm confident that our group will handle that the right way and focus on what really matters, and that's the 60 minutes of football we got to go play.
Coach, on that first drive, you guys get into the red zone. Unfortunate fumble follows. Overall, bigger picture throughout this season, how would you assess your red zone offense?
Yeah, in improving, that the expectation is that when we get down there, we're scoring touchdowns. In worst case scenario, we're kicking field goals and taking 3 away, and obviously turnovers, crush you in those situations. But the following drive, you see a really well executed, red zone offense of series. Great run by Cam Porter, great run by Jack. I think the critical piece in that's starting to show up that I'm excited about is a level of balance. Some of the third down and fourth down conversions we've seen out of this offense recently, I think, we've talked about what that identity is, especially short yard situations, which, really red zone offense is a series of short yard situations as space starts to get condensed. Continued improvement is needed, but also excited about some of the areas that we're improving on.
You've been a big advocate for the new Ryan Field, as it's gone further along in the process. I know in kind of construction phase, you weren't really head coach yet, but has there been any consultation between you and administration about what you might like some of the football-specific infrastructure to look like?
Starting with Pat Ryan Jr. and the Ryan family as a whole, they've been incredible. Just keeping myself and the program up to speed. The administration, Mark Jackson, others within the administration have done a great job of, taking a lot of that stuff off of my plate and allowing us to focus on winning football games, but also keeping me in the loop. And again, I'll bring a lot of the credit back to, the Ryan family as a whole of really asking all the questions of what it's going to need to look like operationally on game day, from a recruiting standpoint, from a game day operations standpoint, what it looks like utilizing that space in recruiting during the recruiting season when we're out of, the fall and in the winter. It's going to be a game changer for us. I mean, for recruits to step on campus on game day and experience the new Ryan Field, for recruits to step on campus even when we're out of season to see the venue that we're going to be playing in, I've been really, really blown away, to be honest with you, in terms of the level of detail that's gone into the planning for the new Ryan Field.
Coach, Michigan's got a great defensive line, as we touched on quite a bit today. They're really good at getting pressures, really good at getting TFLs. Obviously, you talked about some of the transition with the offensive line, but as this team has grown and gelled throughout the year, how important do you think that chemistry is going to be in terms of going on the road and dealing with a defensive front like that?
Absolutely essential. And, as a football team this past Saturday, we were certainly far from perfect. And to be honest with you, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be, at your best. And I saw a group of guys up front against Ohio State that managed a lot of different looks, relatively well. Good communication on the sideline, and guys that were straining in the run game. And I know the run, stats that you look at as sheet post game is not where we want it to be. If you look at like design called runs against Ohio State, I think we were averaging like 3.8 yards per carry, which is an indication that this group has it within them to establish a run game. If you can do that against an operation like Ohio State, Michigan will present a lot of the same issues in terms of their personnel and their multiple looks. But we're going to have to find a way to have a balanced attack against a team like this, especially on the road.
Coach, two unrelated. One, do you have an update on Theron Johnson and if you expect him to play on Saturday? And two, Michigan runs a 2-quarterback system with both Davis Warren and Alex Orji, 2 different skill sets. Alex mostly is coming in to run the ball. How much did that preparation for Purdue, when you weren't sure if you were going to see Hudson or Ryan Braun, kind of help you get ready for another 2-quarterback system with a very similar mobile quarterback versus traditional passer?
To answer your first question, we do expect Theron to be available for Michigan. Excited to have him back. And, in terms of the 2-quarterback system and the preparation in Purdue, I think there is some carryover from that Purdue prep. And then also just understanding how Michigan's specifically utilizing it. At the end of the day, both you go back and look at the Minnesota game. I mean, both quarterbacks are certainly capable of throwing the football. It's just understanding tendency and how they're utilizing each. But we're going to have to do a good job of making sure that we have a balanced plan that can certainly account, for drop back pass, some of the access throws that they like to throw to the field, and then being sound against quarterback run game.
Coach, how do you start to put into perspective that less than 2 years removed from coordinating games in the Fargo Dome, you're about to lead a Big Ten football team into the big house as a head coach?
Yeah. No, and in a lot of ways, I know I've used this word before. In a lot of ways, it's surreal. Grateful, beyond grateful for the opportunity that myself, our family, this staff has. There's a lot of guys on this staff a lot of people on this staff that have dreamed of working in the Big Ten, throughout their entire career. So I don't think that's something that gets lost on this group. But the thing that you quickly realize, whether it's coaching in the Fargo Dome or coaching at Winona State or Culver Stockton College or, coaching in a national championship game or coaching in the Big Ten and, going into Kinnick or getting an opportunity to do it at Wrigley Field is, you take your opportunities pregame to soak that in. But like that first ball goes up and you're into the game. I mean, I know it sounds silly to say this, but it's all the same, and I think it's finding those moments to be grateful for the opportunity and soak it in. You never should take it for granted, while also being really focused on the task at hand when it's time to go coach a game and put your guys in good situations.
Coach, Michigan's -5 in turnover margin. That's tied for 101st in the country. Obviously, you had Jack's fumble in the red zone. But for the most part, your team's done a better job at protecting the football this year. How critical will that be, winning the turnover battle, holding on to possession this weekend?
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I mean, if you look at these two teams, as Northwestern and Michigan matches up, it's most likely going to be a limited possession football game. So every possession is so critical. Back to your previous question, fourth down stops will be critical. We got to do a better job of creating takeaways as a football team right now. And then, any turnover offensively or on special teams is, just can't happen. And, there's some things in terms of our process and what we're actually putting on film that we can address in terms of our ball security, which I'm excited to get fixed this week.
Coach, one of the things that stood out to me the most from this game was Cam Porter in pass pro against these Ohio State linebackers. What can you talk about just his development, not only as a running back, but just in the pass game, able to stand in and just take blitzers flying at him to keep Jack upright?
Yeah, no, I think it's one of the things that you love and admire most about Cam is, he's a well-rounded back. We saw against Purdue what he can do in the passing game. See what he can do in protection. Certainly know what he's capable of in the run game. But I think it just shows his toughness, his demeanor, his care for his team. Like, pass protection is not the first thing you think about in terms of, man, I can't wait to be a running back in the Big Ten, but it is a critical piece. And to be honest with you, I think it's one of the things that, Cam and his opportunities to play football beyond college will be a huge asset that, pro scouts and organizations are going to look at. There's a lot more value you can bring to a football team than just carrying the football as a back, and Cam has certainly proven to be very well-rounded.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everyone.